Hey everybody, this is RaceCar0 from ForgeWatch.com. I'm trying to attempt another SolForge video here. Last time the audio didn't work so well. Seems like the audio is working this time. We'll find out when it actually, gets finished recording. But I figured I'd give it a shot anyway, just to give some of you guys a little bit of a look at the new iPad demo, and also maybe have somebody kind of talk a little bit about what it is that they're doing. I unfortunately don't have my brother-in-law with me, which is probably better because then it means I'm a lot less likely to get my butt kicked. But even still, I think there's some value in just kind of taking a look at an AI game. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll just hop into a one-player game and pick up whichever deck they decide to give me. Okay, so it looks like they've given me the Necromutera deck. Which I found is a little bit more difficult for me to play, at least initially it was, when I first started playing it, just because it comes with a lot of the cards that I don't like. So cards like Enrage that are in there, and it's got like Low Stride Stag in there. There's just a lot of things that I didn't really quite go for, and I found that the Tempys Aloyan deck was a little bit more close to my personal playstyle. But after some time, it became readily apparent that once you learn how to play the decks, the Necromutera deck is probably the easier one to pick up for most people, while the Tempys deck tends to be the one that requires a little bit more strategy and a little bit more depth. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm kind of sad to see one of my culls already here, because that's a really great card to have a little bit later. And when you're going first, it's kind of sad to see that in your hand because there's nothing to kill. And while I could, if I wanted to just, play the card and end up discarding it, I'm not going to bother doing that. I'll just go ahead and drop something like a Life Shaper out. It's generally better to play into lanes 2 and 4. Those are kind of the more common lanes. They give you a really great benefit against cards like Echo Wisp, cards like Aloyan General, because as you play towards the middle, you're a lot more likely to hit some of these important cards. So generally tend to play towards the middle. It's going to be a little bit better for you as far as making good trades. Go ahead and finish this turn, see what the computer's got for me. Oh good, I got another cull anyway. Hey, and a Grimgaunt. This will probably turn out pretty well for me then. And I'm going to call that Lightning Worm there, get Grimgaunt a little bit of bonus there. Go ahead and end the turn. Oh, Chrogias. So one of the things that I think most people don't necessarily understand about the game, and I've talked about in a couple of other places, is that generally speaking, you can pretty much ignore most of the plays that are happening during turns 1 through 4. And for the most part, what you're trying to do is set yourself up for better cards after the shuffle. When playing the demo decks, if I ever get Chrogias, or if I ever get Scorchmane Dragon within the first 4 turns, I almost always play it, because it's always a good idea to do that, because as you go into the shuffle, you're going to want to be able to play those cards again, get them leveled up, eventually get those really super uber cards for the later game. Probably not smart to stick Chrogias in front of the Forge Plate, because that'll really just bounce off and do absolutely nothing. Let's see here. Bone Scythe could kill the Forge Plate. And so could zombie infantry, but I think I'm going to go with the Bone Scythe just because I like the opportunity to maybe kill off some rank 1 creatures later with it and kind of get that 2-for-1 kill shot. And Chrogias is just going to go out and block the Lightning Worm and effectively trade those middle lanes there. Yeah, see, Vengeful Spirit is another one of those cards that I have a really hard time with. I find that the demo decks have a tendency to make me want to use these cards that I don't like a lot more, things like Electronet, Vengeful Spirit, Enrage, more than what I would normally want to play. But I think in a constructed format, I'm not as big of a fan of cards like Vengeful Spirit yet, mostly because I don't think that there's a lot of really great uses for it. In the Grimgaunt decks that people have built, it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, you really want to throw those in there because it dying and then it taking something down with it does nothing but help a Grimgaunt. But we've banned Grimgaunt right now because there's just not really that many great ways to deal with him, especially if you're in a constructed format and people are really just trying to milk him for all he's worth. Kind of makes him a little bit harder to utilize efficiently. So looking at what I've got here, I'm probably going to play the Cavern Hydra. I'm going to play him in front of the Lightning Worm, and we'll just go ahead and take him out right now. And then I've got the choice between the Sparkbot or the Magma Hound. Ultimately, it doesn't look like it's really going to matter. I'm not a big fan of Deep Range Prowler. I feel like you play him early, yes, you get some really quick advantage, but I'm kind of playing towards the long game anyway with that Chrogias that I just dropped, so I'm going to, forget about him for now. And I think I'll probably just go with another Bone Scythe. I'll probably put him in front of Sparkbot just in case he gets a little crazy with the... We essentially have two ways to kill creatures here. I'm a little saddened by the fact that I don't have a Grimgaunt to play right now, but hey, that is what it is. Since it doesn't look like it's really going to matter too much, I'm going to go ahead and put the Bone Scythe down there. We'll kill the Forge Plate so that way the Hydra doesn't die. And then I think I will go ahead and call off the other Magma Hound here. We'll get some good trading going on, come out ahead here. Yeah, now we have like all level 1 cards. That's not the best thing in the world, especially since he just dropped a Forge Plate 2. But we can manage fairly well here. Let's see if we do some maths. Vengeful Spirit. We drop it. It's not going to be enough to get through the armor, so it's probably not worth our while. What we might want to do is consider just waiting for an opportunity to take that Forge Plate out with like a cull. So, let's go ahead and Cavern Hydra in front of the Forge Plate, which will be a nice trade when it comes back around again. And then we'll just jump block with the Flesh. The other one. Damage. Tied up here for life. Ooh, we got the Chrogias too. We want to play that Chrogias too because that gets our Chrogias 3 in the deck, which is going to be really helpful. How do we want to? Let's go ahead and put Chrogias in front of the Forge Plate, because that'll give us 2 turns worth of blocking before we have to deal with him again. Same deal with Life Shaper. If we drop it in front of the Sparkbot, we'll be able to get an even trade, so long as there's no buffing or zapping or anything else going on like that, so move forward with that. And another forge plate. So the computer's doing something really smart here for those of you who are trying to figure out how to win with the Tempys Aloyan deck. They're playing forge plates. Forge plates are a really, really difficult card for the Necrim Mutera deck to deal with, just because that armor is really tough, and so unless they start getting some of their straight-up creature removal, which I'm not right now, it gets really, really hard to actually take one of those guys out. I have all rank 1 hands, which is great for the Life Shaper, but it's not great for what I'm packing in my... For now. Just do some buffing there. Go ahead and drop the Cavern Hydra in front of the Volcanic Giant. We'll get a good trade there too. And that all cleared out. So now we just have the other Forge Plate to deal with. Oh, our good friend Grimgone. Man, he is getting his rank 2 cards like crazy. So if we do that and we stick him in front of either of those guys, he's gonna die. So the question then becomes, is it worthwhile to take 18 damage and potentially keep the Grimgone around, or do we want to just kind of jump block something and not have to worry about it as much? I'm going to go ahead and drop the Flesh Fiend here in front of the Forge Plate, just to start, because that's going to be one of our worthwhile moves, at least to kind of get him blocked for a little bit. In front of the Magma Hound or the Lightning Worm, because essentially if I don't block the Lightning Worm, I'm taking 18 damage anyway. So it actually would have been worse had we not stuck him in front. So it's kind of unfortunate. It's a little bit of a waste of a Grimgone, but you have to do what you have to do in order to make sure that you don't die. Maybe actually get to see that end game. Oh, okay, so this next hand looks a little bit better. We have some creature removal if he ends up playing any rank 1s, which at his current rate is probably unlikely. Hey, there's one. So we will be able to take out some of these more difficult to kill creatures, which is nice. I'll go ahead and drop the Bone Set there, which will let us kill the Lightning Worm. And just because the Forge Plate is active right now, our additional incoming damage. Now what's really unfortunate here is the fact that if I were to attempt to block the Air Spirit with the Cavern Hydra, it wouldn't actually be effective enough. Oh, I don't have another card to play, so I guess it doesn't matter. But even if I did, I mean, it's one of those. This is one of those prime examples of why Cavern Hydra is not quite spec'd right. I mean, he can't really do much, so you really end up having to buff him in order to get the best benefit out of his regen before it actually becomes worthwhile. So we'll just have to hope that we can kill that Air Spirit on the next go round. Maybe see a Chrogias or something. Because you always have to play it into these lanes, and you may or may not actually get the benefit that you want out of it. That was an interesting choice of movement. So, I mean, if you look at this, we can take out a 14 health creature, which seems like it's really great. And most people say, oh, well, you can trade up with the Vengeful Spirit. You can play a rank 2 and kill a rank 3. Well, in this instance, I can't. So it actually doesn't do me any good whatsoever in that instance. Go ahead and drop the Life Shaper in front of the Lightning Worm. And rather than take the 20 damage, which is going to get me really close to being dead, Air Spirit, and at least get a trade there. And hope that I can hold on to some life. Yeah, this is getting a little scary here. See, and this is one of those instances where you look at it and you're just like, oh, the computer could have totally just killed me right now if they'd actually played that lightning worm before they decided to go into combat. But they didn't, so I guess I'll take it. I'm still probably dead anyway, because I definitely don't have enough things to stop 3 rank 3s from coming in and pounding on my door. Yeah. Well, on the bright side, we can kill that incoming lightning worm. Do some chump blocking there. We'll see if we actually get the Chrogias before I end up dying anyway. Oh, there he is. That's such bittersweet death for me. Got a Flesh Fiend and a Chrogias, all of which would have been really cool to have if I wasn't dead right now. So there's a little look at SolForge. For those of you who haven't seen it before, for those of you who just kind of want to know maybe some of the thinking that's going into it, I have a great tendency of losing these games that I upload for you guys, so it surely doesn't do a lot for maybe what you think my skill level is, but trust me, I'm a little bit better than this normally. At least I'd like to think so. I guess my current tournament performance, for those of you following forum games, probably isn't all that great either. But I at least surround myself with people who know what they're talking about, so I can try to say that I know how to play the game to an extent. Anyway, this is our second of what is probably going to be very many SolForge videos and gameplay demos, and hopefully at some point we'll get our live streaming working. That doesn't seem to be anytime soon, but for now we can just kind of satisfy ourselves with uploaded YouTube videos. If you have any questions, comments, or if you saw any of the misplays that I did, I'd love to see them in comments. I'd love to talk to you guys about them. I really love talking about the game, and just feel free to type away at what you think I could have done better in that game. I think it would be a really interesting discussion. So until next time, we'll